Darby, man. Good morning and welcome to the studio, man.
Hello, hello.
Played a little Sid Vicious My Way coming back from break, and I know that's a significant song for you. I read the article in Kerrang where you talked about the most influential songs in your life, and I know that song is one of them.
Yeah, I was wondering why that was playing. I was like, what the?
But I do my research, man.
I listened to that every day in seventh grade, and I was, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
So that kind of got you through school.
Yeah, I don't know.
So music is a big deal for you. I know that music and Bully and I talk music all the time here on Busted Open, but music is a big part of of you and your character and who
Yeah,
you are,
yeah,
right?
that's a big thing because like I like to, say if people are going to compare like the two companies, whether it's like WWE or AEW or whatever, I like to put it as like kind of music references. For example, like you can say WWE is like the Taylor Swift and AEW is the Slayer, and we
Yeah.
don't really, you know what I mean? Like Taylor Swift can sell more records, but that doesn't mean that Slayer doesn't have a huge following, and our brand of music is a little bit more intense, violent, but we don't have to change anything. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to try to sell the same records as a Taylor Swift. We're kind of in our own world, and that's what I like to compare the two things to. And like you could watch All Out, for example, and it could be a little offensive to people, but man, I live to offend people.
Okay. All right. Now, talking about offending people, Bully, you'll appreciate this. In the article in Kerrang that I read, Darby mentioned, and you're gonna love this, for the artist that he would love to play him out. And I'm talking about the song he would want at his funeral by Gigi Allen. And it's probably maybe the only acoustic song I've ever heard from Gigi Allen. But again, Gigi Allen, he had his hardcore followers, but go ahead.
Think of it like this: Todd Phillips, the director of The Joker, all-time rated R highest grossing film. His first ever student film was Hate It, that Gigi Allen documentary.
Wow.
So you put it together and you're like, whoa, there is elements you can take from a complete psychopath that is so marketable today. There's people that say the Joker's inspired by Gigi Allen, and like you could take those mannerisms and everything like that. So it's not just like, oh yeah, Gigi Allen shock rocker guy who likes the crap on the stage. It's like there's like things to his art that is like captivating that you can take to like like say the Joker and everything like that. So Todd Phillips is just one of my favorite directors of all time. So
What?
Darby, we have something in common. First of all, I'm just marked out for the fact that you did an interview in Kerrang, because me and Dave growing up, rock and
That was
roll
it.
metal
Yeah.
fans, we had Circus, we had Hit Parader, but whenever you could get your hands on Kerrang, that was such a big deal to read the articles and the interviews. So I think that's cool as hell. You talked about My Way by Sid Vicious, and that's a real special song to you, right?
yeah, no, it's one of those first like songs I was introduced to like the world of punk rock in seventh grade because like it's like you're growing up, you're just listening to the radio, and then there's like one kid in my seventh grade class that was wearing a Sid Vicious shirt. I'm like, who the hell is Sid Vicious? And I like typed it up, and that song came up, and I was like, what is this? And then it just opened the floodgates to like all the bands now I listen to, whether it be Crass, Bad Brains, and just Black Flag. It goes on and on and on. It just like was like the gateway to all that. So I hold that song kind of special in my heart in a way, even though people can say the Sex Pistols is like, oh, that's just like so whatever, like introduction to punk rock, like, oh, they're so like whatever. But I respect everything about the Sex Pistols.
So, Darby, I'm going to show you something right now on the Zoom, and obviously, I'll tell our listeners. Darby, you know what that is?
I believe it's a Hall of Fame ring.
Yes, that's a WWE Hall of Fame ring. Now, you can't see what's inscribed on the inside, but I'll tell you, when I got the call for the Hall of Fame, a very nice English lady named Sue Aitchison, who worked for the WWE, said, Baba, what would you like inscribed on your Hall of Fame ring? And I said, My Way. And she goes, oh, that's so nice. My Way by Frank Sinatra? I said, no, My Way by Sid Vicious.
Yeah, that's
That's what I
wild.
have inscribed on
No,
my Hall of Fame ring.
that's pretty wild. Yeah, that's cool. I know you're a big hardcore fan of just like music, and I think I talked to you briefly at an NEW show about it, but like back then I was so freaking shy. Like of like just talking to anybody, like we sat next to each other at a meet and greet, and I don't think I said one word to you until you said something to me.
Yeah.
But now, like, I kind of have gained the confidence that like I actually have something to say in the wrestling world. And I think it's kind of the whole thing with Sting. If someone told me like 5 years ago that it'd be like on Sting's way out, like big part of his addict, dude, I had not had the confidence for that. But now I was like, dude, no, I feel like I have something to say. And I think that's the whole thing with like punk rock, for example. Like I grew up like a huge fan of Henry Rollins. I don't know if you're familiar with Raymond Pettibone, the artist of Black Flag, who created the logo of Black Flag.
No.
Well, he lives like right down the street in New York, and he's like 65 now. But we took him mini golfing yesterday in New York, and I whooped his ass.
It's interesting that you bring up Sting, because I think this is another thing that we have in common, which is very unique. And Dave, you can back me up. Darby, me and you were the last two people to get the best of Sting. Dave, would you agree with that?
I definitely would agree with that, because you had that amazing match with Sting in TNA at Slammiversary, and then Darby Allin, part of that retirement match for Sting in AEW. So, like, you talk about an icon, a legend. Sting is obviously that person for both of you.
So, Darby, I remember like my first interaction with Sting. Tell us about your first interaction. Like the first day you said hello, the first time you shook his hand. Were you that same shy kid that
Oh yeah.
sat next to me at the NEW show?
Absolutely. Like I walked into his trailer, Cody's like, you got to meet Sting before you guys go out there and have the segment. So I walked into his trailer and I was like, oh, like so nervous. And then I shook his hand, but you should know this, Bully. Like Sting is the most welcoming, down to earth guy. It was insane because right away he's just like, I love your work. I love your promos. I love your videos. I love everything, your aesthetic, everything. And I was like, whoa, it was kind of validation that I was doing something right. And then in wrestling, I can't, you meet a lot of guys that really don't get the whole thing, whether it's the face paint, the pink jacket, the weird skateboarding. They just don't get it because it's not pro wrestling in a way, like with the skateboarding and all the crazy stuff I do outside the ring. But Sting like welcomed all of that right away. And it was like I feel like our friendship out of the ring was stronger than our bond in the ring.
Wow.
People don't get to see that. And that's a big thing now is I'm training his son, Steven, to wrestle. And that's like kind of me kind of saying thank you for everything he's done for me is like, let's get your son off to the races and, be ready to rock.
What would you say if you had to give just one answer? What would you say the biggest thing that Sting did for you?
Was teach me to be humble, outside the ring, because this guy has done it all and he has no ego whatsoever. I feel like sometimes he forgets he's Sting. I'm serious when I say that. He like legit, like he'll like question something, and be like, am I capable of this? I'm like, you're Sting. You can do whatever you want. And I feel like, he has no ego whatsoever. And it was like so cool that once this 15-minute ride is over of the world of wrestling, you can look at yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, I know who I am. You don't get lost in everything.
It's so crazy that you just said that your answer to him was your Sting. You can do whatever you want. One time, me and him were going over some stuff, and he looked at me and he goes, Bubba, can I really get away with doing that? And my answer was, your Sting. So, like, I can totally relate to the story that you just told. And my story with him happened 10, 12 years earlier. And you're right. He's one of the most welcoming guys, and he's extremely humble. And I don't think he realizes just how great, that he was. Dave?
Yeah, because one of the things about you, Darby, and obviously a lot of people when they interview you and talk about you, they talk about what you can do physically. But I really have seen over the last year what you're able to do on the microphone and how comfortable you are on the microphone now. How did that happen? Because you were saying how shy you were and how nervous you get. When did you really come out of your shell when it comes to being so good on the microphone like you are?
So a big thing about it is, first year in AEW, I have no TV experience whatsoever. And then you get kind of thrown in the deep end as an AEW original with no like, because we don't have a performance center. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like go out there and it was really nerve-wracking because you just, do I have a voice? Do I have something to say? And then the more I like thought about it, I was like, man, I can inspire a whole generation of people to do something with their lives. I just need to talk about, like, because you could do it through your, like, oh, he jumps off a ladder, but that's not really going to inspire somebody to do something with their life. It's the words that matter. Just like Bubba, you could probably agree, like, you can talk somebody into the show. Like, you could talk fans into the building, but it's like kind of hard to just, it's like the indie guys that they'll do crazy stuff, but that there's a glass ceiling to the crazy stuff, but it's like the words that really matter. And I really didn't understand that until, like, I was like, man, I kept searching for what I should say in life, but it was right in front of me the whole time. Just tell my life story, tell like what, like everything that's happened. And then I feel like, oh, I don't have to search for a character. I could just be me.
Wow.
And then that was like the biggest thing. And I felt like it was super inspiring to a whole crop of people, like like fans, young people. I just want to inspire a kid that's watching this, that's like 10 years old, that had no confidence like I did. I would sit at the wall in Seattle and I'd stare at it and be like, I'm not going to amount to anything. My life is going to be in the minimum wage world, and this world's just going to pass me by. And I had no confidence. I was like, I'm just going to stare at this wall and watch my life pass by. But the moment I got a taste of any like thing with wrestling, I just took, that's why, like, take me anywhere. Like, I do not care about traveling. I'll do anything. There's nothing I won't do, because, like, I was like, just give this kid from Seattle a taste of the world and I'm never gonna stop. So
This
it's
is
just
a this
giving
is a
people the confidence.
very refreshing conversation because you're so much different than that guy I sat next to at that autograph session who was so shy and reserved. And to hear you flow right now and have immediate answers and know what you want to say, which to me is one of the biggest things that is going to make you successful in wrestling. You can do all the death-defying stuff you want, but it's your ability to communicate and resonate with a crowd that's really going to matter. And you want to do that with those kids. Getting to some of the crazier stuff that you have done, are you still in the same mindset as, I'm going to go do this? It might not make sense, but I'm going to do it because I want to do it and the fan base is going to love it? Or have you, I'll say, evolved in your thinking about some of the more death-defying things you do?
It's hard to say, because with or without wrestling, I'm a risk taker. The stuff I do outside the ring is just as sketchy, if not more sketchy, than the stuff I do inside the ring. Pretty sure everybody saw, like, me take that Jeep and jump over my house, a 96-foot jump over the house. Um, just the other day, I jumped off a 60-foot waterfall just to test out my foot. Like, because, like, it's no secret, I broke my foot 2 weeks before I was supposed to climb Mount Everest. And I was like, man, all right, my foot feels good in the ring, but I want to see if it feels really good. So I jumped off a 60-foot waterfall. But the thing is, it's like, I'm gonna do this with or without a ring. So it's like, in that sense, like, I hate the word adrenaline junkie, but, like, like, I'm really influenced by, guys like Evil Knievel. So it's like, it's like, dude, a lot of the fans are like, you don't have to do this anymore. You don't have to win us over. I'm like, who says I'm doing it for you? It's like, I kind of just like doing it, so it's like, I got to pick and choose. Obviously, you don't want to just go out there, and I would never do a front flip off the 20-foot ladder through glass on a Rampage or a Dynamite or a Collision. It's like, there's a time and place, and I feel like there's times I have to be smarter with when I do something crazy. But yeah, it's hard to reel back, honestly, because I love doing it.
Okay, but that's a very mature answer because you said you have to be smarter about when I do something, and that makes all the sense in the world. I don't know if you just saw me and LaGreca pop at the same time when you said Evil Knievel, because that's the guy we grew up on.
Yeah,
That's
no,
and there's a big age gap between me, Dave, and you, and that was one of your guys also.
More of an age canyon, but yes, there's definitely a gap
well,
in between.
you guys are familiar with Nitro Circus and Travis Pastrana.
Yes.
Yeah, so, like, I perform at Nitro Circus. I'll take the big wheel. It's like pretty much like a tricycle, and I'll go down the huge rolling and backflip the 50-foot gap on that thing. And we have more shows coming up in the December. I'm performing for them in Carolinas and Georgia and stuff like that. But that's another thing I love about, like, AEW, and they let me do it. All right, man, like, they understand that I'm going to get more eyes on the place if they just let me be me outside of the ring, whether it's the crazy skateboarding stuff. I take this, for example. I know that people can't see the photo unless they're watching the interview, but you see this right here. It's
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk and we're selling these 8x10s pretty soon on shopaew.com. All proceeds go to the skate park project, which is Tony Hawk's skate company that builds skate park in underdeveloped areas and stuff like that. So it's like this is when I broke my foot right here. He did an invert on my cast. And it's just, but it's cool. Like, but outside of the ring, I still like skateboard like crazy. I have a huge skate park in my backyard, 14 acres in Georgia. We got dirt jumps. It's like a little Pastrana land. You know, we got all these crazy, like we do, you know, four-wheelers, ATVs, all the stuff. It's cool. But yeah, that's Pastrana's my guy and Evil Knievel's my guy. And
But you know what's cool, Darby, and Bully, you would appreciate this as well, is Evil Knievel. Like the biggest toy when Bully and I were young was the Evil Knievel. Yeah, you know, like the toy you wind up on the motorcycle and goes, and like here you are, and you talk about your story and about you staring at that wall, watching life go by. And then fast forward and, you know, like somebody you looked up with too, you have your own action figure and kids are buying your action figure and doing their jumps with your action figure. Like, think about that, man. Like those are moments that you have to like stop, look at and appreciate it, because you got to remember the person that was staring at that wall. And now you're such a hero to a lot of young kids, like you were young ones, and they're buying your action figure and playing for your action figure. That's so cool.
yeah, it goes full circle. Like I told you, Sting at the end of his career could look at himself in the mirror and know exactly who I am. And that's how I feel, like just staying grounded. I do not forget being a dishwasher. I do not forget any of that. I do not forget being homeless in my car. And that's why I perform the way I do. Like balls to the wall every night, because nothing's guaranteed and you know this doesn't last forever. So like I just want to like be grateful for everything that I do out there.
So talk about that moment. You know, you talked about, hey man, I'm never going to make anything. I'm never going to make any real money. What was the moment like for you when you put pen to paper and signed the contract with AEW?
It was very surreal. Um, because I was never the guy on the indies. I was never going to be like the main event guy. You know what I mean? So I hear this company AEW starting, I hear the word creative freedom. I was like, if I have any ounce of making it in this whole world, I need to just be there. I felt it, I knew it, like, and then, you know, thank God for Cody for seeing it. He's the one who got me in the door, and I just kicked the door down. And I it was very surreal because AEW has given me everything. I had my dad retire from his shit ass job because of AEW. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, and now he's my personal assistant, and I just whatever the personal assistant for Darby Allin means. But it's awesome. You know, I can do so much stuff for my family and friends. You know, we'll randomly like surprise them, have a helicopter land in my front yard, pick them up, and then take them around the town and make them jump out the helicopter into the lake. I had my dad do this. And it was like a 30-foot jump. And it's just because, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want my parents' life to be like that Bruce Springsteen song. Oh, yeah, glory days. Like, our best times were in our 20s. I was like, no, your greatest times are right now, motherfucker. And it's just like, jump out of the helicopter. And it's just like, but no, it's just really cool with like everything that AEW has given me. And it all started, and I understood the importance of this place. And a lot of people take it for granted. I feel like you could say a lot of the young guys really stop and think this, you know, don't go out there like Moxley. It's ironic, you know what I mean? I'm wrestling Moxley on Wednesday, but I look up to the guy so much because he came into AEW and his first ever promo is, this is the paradigm shift. And I want people to treat it as such. This isn't just like, oh, hey, like if just chill out with the friends and collect a paycheck. No, we have to perform to the absolute limits every week, because it's like I want to AEW was designed to drop the world of wrestling on its head. And I feel like I'm the perfect poster child to what that embodies. Like,
Bully, as he's talking, Bully, like it kind of reminds me a little bit of ECW in this way, where the locker room was like, we'll run through a wall for Paul Heyman because we believe in this company so much. And that's what I hear coming from you. Like, because Tony Khan was in studio with us last week. And the one thing Tony Khan said is about how much he appreciates you. You know, you're a foundation of this company. And he mentioned you and Bryan Danielson as being the two best wrestlers coming out of Seattle. Like, with the Tony Khan and with AEW, you feel like, hey man, I'm going to wave the flag for this company and for this guy because of what he was able to do for
I'm
you.
legit going to climb Mount Everest in April, and I'm taking an AEW flag, and I'm planning on the top of that son of a bitch.
Wow.
That's what I'm doing. Like that's like what I'm dedicated for this company because like I said, it gave me everything. And the biggest thing it gave me outside of just my family, helping my family out is just being free mentally of just being like, do you, be you, like outside the ring, inside the ring, they let me do whatever, like I said, the skate with Tony Hawk, the Nitro Circus, the crazy, whatever, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm so grateful that there's nothing I will not do for this place.
That's awesome, man.
I can totally relate to what you're saying because, like, WWE made me a millionaire. TNA gave me an opportunity to become Bully Ray. All Japan and New Japan gave me and Devon an opportunity to conquer the world. But at the end of the day, I'm always an ECW guy. So
Yes.
if I was to climb Mount Everest with you, we would be fighting over who's going to stick their flag at the top. I totally get it. I want to go back to what Dave mentioned about the Tony Khan chat that they had last week. Tony and Dave, help me out here because I'm paraphrasing. Tony said that he does not put as much attention on storytelling, or he does not believe that fans are as interested in storytelling anymore. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like TV should be booked more on a week-to-week basis, or would you like to see things stretched out in AEW a little bit more?
Well, I come from the world of film. Like I dropped out of film school. So I love stretching things out. I love telling a story. Like obviously, I feel like in the sense of AEW, the first year was dream matches. But I do feel like now, if you look at the whole thing, it's all story based. And whether it's dragged out or whether it's week to week, it's still a story. And that's like, but I love to really sink my teeth into something. So if, for me in particular, what I'm doing with John, that isn't week to week. You know what I mean? Like that is just like you guys build something here. And that's exactly what we're doing. So it's you know what I mean? Like I just know for my case, and I know for guys, whether you say like an MJF or a swerving hangman, that isn't week to week. That's big, like drawn out. So I think it's just different strokes for every performer.
You mentioned before about freedom, Tony Khan and AEW give you that freedom to be you. And like even on the microphone, hey, I'm just going to be myself. Like, is that what really attracted you to AEW to begin with? Like, and the fact that this is your home, this is your future, because they're not trying to make you be something different, that you can just be yourself. Who you are outside the ring is who you can bring inside the ring with. Like, do you feel that freedom in AEW?
Yes, to this day, I still feel that freedom. Absolutely. Like you see what me and John are doing. That's literally like I am talking from the heart there. John was my guy. It's so hard like when you first enter the world of wrestling and you're like there's so much different routes to take, like who should I be? What should I do? And I saw Moxley and I saw what he was doing way back when in CZW. This isn't even Dean Ambrose. This is John Moxley from like CZW.
Okay.
And I saw the stuff he was doing, the switchblades with like Callahan and everything. And I was like, okay, these guys are relatable, because you look at a Sting. I, 2014, when I first started wrestling, I couldn't relate to an icon. I couldn't be like, that's the guy I'm going to be because he is icon. He is so far up here on the food chain. I was like, that's such a pie in the sky thing. But John Moxley, just this gritty dude from Ohio that made a name for himself when you know what I mean? Like just pull himself out of the trenches.
I remember like seeing John Moxley versus Homicide at the Ace Arena in Union, New Jersey, in front of 75 people, and they're pulling out, all the I know Bully, the toolbox and wrenches and
Yeah.
screwdrivers and everything. And it's like at first you like it's shocking at first. Like it's not something, and it's different, as you said, with music. Just a different side of the professional wrestling art form.
Yes, but just go back to your question. But that's how I feel like with AEW. It's like I'm telling that story of this. I am telling Moxley on the microphone how much I've looked up to him, but now how much I despise him. And it's just like this is just coming from my heart, everything I'm saying. So
Okay.
it's just like do you like however you want to tell this story to the fans, like, do you? So it's just like it's fun.
Darby, taking into account your genuine personality, your character, and the freedom that you've had in AEW, do you think you could survive and thrive in a more structured company like the WWE?
I think I can like now I feel like I can strive anywhere I want. Because the thing is I'm such a go-getter team, like, team player. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm so dedicated. I do not like if someone wants something done, unless it's like changing everything about myself, I won't do it. But like if someone wants something done, like, what say it's like, you need to lose this, or you need to lose this match, or you need to like whatever, you know what I mean? Like I I'm more more than happy. I don't, there's, you know what I mean? Like I feel like there's nothing, I belong anywhere I go. That's how I feel now.
Coming up, you're here in New York because Grand Slam coming up tomorrow night. Arthur Ashe Stadium, Grand Slam, big show for it. The 3-year anniversary of the first time you guys came to New York City in Arthur Ashe Stadium. How big is this show for you, and how big is this show for the company?
So, the last years we've been here, it's I've always been teamed up with Sting. FTR, we first ever, we wrestled, it was me and Sting. So now it's like kind of life after Sting, and then to be in the spot I am, because a lot of people are like, well, what's Darby gonna be like after Sting? Like how's he going to survive in this company? But you got to remember, I was TNT champion before Sting was even in the company. And, I feel like this is a friendly reminder to everybody what I'm capable of, and I belong in these spots. And it's huge for me, and it's huge for the company because, on the, coming up with the rumors of the new TV deal, that just makes me want to work harder. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, we got a TV deal now, we can just chill out. No, no, no. You gotta hit the ground running. So like it's just I feel like this is like laying the foundation to like what's coming. And the company is just it's just to me like it's always growing. This is like 5 years into this, and like I said, I want to be the backbone. I want to be the face of this place. And to be the face of this place, I need to be world champion.
How long do you want to go? We talk about punk rock music. A lot of those artists and a lot of those bands kind of burnt out. They didn't fade away. They burnt out. How long do you want to be a professional wrestler for?
So, the thing is, like, people don't know about me is the physical recovery regimen I'm on. My whole downstairs, like, I'm good friends with DDP, and he's like every new crazy contraption there is for physical recovery. I go to his house and I test it out. I buy it. So we got the saunas, we got the plunges, we got every crazy thing there is. My body feels incredible right now. But also my mind feels incredible because I talked to Rick Rubin, and he put me onto TM meditation. He put me into a TM meditation school program. So I meditate every single day to keep the mind sharp and to keep like level headed. And I told Rick Rubin, it's great. Speaking of music, it's like, I was like, hey, what you did for Johnny Cash, I'd like to think I did for Sting. And he's all like, yeah, I totally see it, but it's just, that's a funky reference. But like the thing is, I feel so good. When you talk about punk rock, like a lot of those guys were just living day to day. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I see a bigger picture, and it literally just depends on where the wind takes me at this point. And but physically and mentally, I'm ready to rock, and I love what I'm doing. So I don't see.
All right, good. No, that's great.
Unless I go to Mount Everest and a Yeti kills me, but like besides that, I see him.
Be careful.
I'm just popping for the fact that he just name dropping Rick Rubin. Like, oh yeah, I was talking to Rick Rubin the other day, and he turned me on to some meditation. Oh sure, Rick Rubin.
I was at DDP's house.
Oh yeah, DDP. Oh, DDP's not that big of a deal. Okay, Darby, here's the deal. I was so impressed with today's chat. I'm gonna do something that I've never done before. Every Wednesday night at 10 o'clock Eastern time, right after Dynamite goes off the air, I host a show called Busted Open After Dark. I do a band of the night every single week. So because because we have the same love for the song My Way, I'm gonna let you choose the band of the night for tomorrow night. So who you picking?
Crass.
Crass?
Yeah.
And you could pick any 3 songs. So you rattle them off, or you tell the producer, and we're playing any 3 songs by Crass, and tomorrow night's set list is dedicated to you and your match against Moxley.
Thank you, sir.
All right, 3 songs. Okay, I'll be listening to Crass when I'm listening to Bully Ray talk about AEW Dynamite. Again, Grand Slam tomorrow night, Arthur Ashe Stadium, New York City. And who's going to be the number 1 contender? Who's going to be facing the AEW World Champion? We'll find out at Arthur Ashe Stadium for Grand Slam tomorrow night. Listen, 5 years AEW's been around now. AEW Dynamite, 5 years in October. Is AEW in a better place now than it was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right now?
Definitely in a better place than it was a year ago.
Okay.
Definitely. Like, it's like
a lot of turmoil.
Yeah,
a lot of turmoil.
But that's the thing is, like, we go back to the storylines. I feel like a lot, like I said, kind of stopping with the dream matches, and it's more like everything has a rhyme for the reason. And yeah, I think that's better for the wrestlers. That's better for the fans. That's better for everybody. I feel like it feels like, yeah, it's better place than it was, I'd say 1 year ago.
Okay.
I feel it in the back, like the energy in the back. You know what I mean? I just like to read the expressions of everybody back there.
Well, I got to tell you, Darby, for your attitude and the way you feel about this company and your passion for pro wrestling and AEW, if there's more people like you in that locker room, there's no way that AEW is not going to succeed and be around for a very long time. Darby, this was a fascinating conversation. Truly appreciate the honest answers and taking the time to be with us today. And good luck tomorrow night at Grand Slam.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.